Welcome back. At the Statehouse, the General Assembly is working to wrap up its work for this year. And one of the last things they'll do is vote on Indiana's budget for the next 2 years. Thanks to a deal worked out this week, we now know exactly what's inside that spending plan and how it impacts you. Our Ray Steele takes a closer look.
The budget deal came together quickly. It had to. The legislative session is almost over, and lawmakers found out just a few days ago they had an extra $2 billion to spend. The long-term economic damage from the pandemic was not as bad as feared. So let's take a minute and go back to an old friend and tell you 6 things that will impact you in this budget. Number 1, teacher pay. Teachers have been calling for higher paychecks ever since the massive Red for Ed rally at the Statehouse in November 2019, and now they may be getting it. The budget sets aside the $600 million a year that the governor's Teacher Pay Commission recommended. It also requires every school district to spend 45% of their state funding on teacher pay. 2, other school funding. About half that extra $2 billion the state will spend is going to education. It means big funding increases for traditional K-12 schools, at least for the next 2 years. 3, private school vouchers. The budget also gives wealthier Hoosiers more access to the voucher program, even more than what Republicans had initially planned. This budget plan would make taxpayer-funded vouchers for private schools available to households with an income of up to $145,000 a year for a family of 4. Number 4, light up without lightening up the wallet. The budget deal does not have the cigarette tax increase that was part of the original budget in the House. But the new deal does include a new tax on e-cigarettes, so vapors would have to pay more. 5, paying down debt. The budget would spend about $1 billion to pay off state debts early and expand the state's rainy day fund. And number 6, high on the hog. Some may call it pork barrel spending, but the budget proposal sets aside $50 million to finally replace the legendary swine barn at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. In its place will be an enclosed building that can piggyback on the state fair with year-round events. Working for you, Ray Steele, WRTV.